Hi, my name is Mark. I was 5 back then. And I live in a little blue house in Seattle with my mom, my dad, and my big fluffy cat named Noodles. I used to love bedtime. My blankets were warm, my nightlight was shaped like a rocket ship, and Noodles always curled up by my feet. But now, I'm scared at night. Really, really scared. It started one night when the rain was tapping on my window and I was just about to fall asleep. That's when I heard it. Wisp! A tiny whisper, coming from the vent on my bedroom wall. At first I thought it was just the wind. Seattle is windy sometimes. But then the whisper came again. Mark, are you awake? I sat up fast. My heart went boom, boom, boom. I looked around. Noodles was still asleep. My door was closed. Mommy and Daddy were downstairs. I tiptoed to the vent and peeked through the little holes. Noodles? I whispered. But it wasn't Noodles. It was a voice. A scary, scratchy, hide-your-face kind of voice. Mark, I see you. I ran and jumped back into bed, pulled the covers over my head and whispered, "Go away, go away, go away." The next morning I told Mommy, "There's a voice in the vent." She smiled and said, "It's probably just the pipes, honey. Nothing to worry about." But I was worried. And the next night it happened again. Scratch, scratch, wisp. "Mark, I'm getting closer," I told Daddy. He opened the vent and looked inside with his flashlight. "See?" he said. "Just dust and a little fluff." But I knew there was more. I knew it. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up holding Noodles, staring at the vent. Nothing happened. Until something moved. Inside the vent. It was slow and slithery, like someone was crawling. The vent cover wiggled. I screamed. "No!" Mommy and Daddy came running. I cried and pointed at the vent. "It moved!" I yelled. "Something's in there!" Daddy didn't smile this time. He looked serious. He took out his flashlight again. Mommy picked me up and held me close. We all stared at the vent, but it was quiet now. Daddy said, "Let's all sleep in our room tonight." I was so scared I didn't even care that Noodles was hogging the pillows. But that night, it got worse. In the middle of the night, I woke up. The vent in Mommy and Daddy's room was making sounds too. Whiss! "I see you now." I saw something shiny behind the vent cover. 2 eyes, not animal eyes, not like Noodles. These were big, and they didn't blink. They stared. I shook Daddy's arm. "They're back." He looked. Mommy sat up. And then, bang! The vent cover fell off. Something was coming out. We all screamed. Daddy grabbed me. Mommy grabbed Noodles. We ran out of the room and locked the door behind us. Daddy called the police. I cried and said, "I told you it wasn't the pipes." When the police came, they brought flashlights and tools. They checked all the vents in the house. And then they found him. There was a man, a real man, crawling in our air ducts. He had been living there for days, crawling through the tiny tunnels, watching us through the vents, whispering to me at night. The police took him away. The next day, Mommy and Daddy got people to come and seal all the vents tight. We even moved Noodles' bed so she could sleep closer to me. They told me I was brave. They said I saved us because I kept telling them something was wrong. Now I sleep in a new room with a new vent, and Mommy checks it every night before bed. But sometimes, just sometimes, when the wind blows hard in Seattle, I still hear whiss, and I hold Noodles close, because I'm not sure if it's the wind, or if someone else is whispering. Again. Hi, my name is Stan, and I want to tell you something that really happened to me. It was the scariest night of my whole life. I'm not kidding. I live in Vancouver, in a big white house with my mom and dad. But guess what? I have my own little apartment downstairs. It's kind of like a tiny house inside a big house. It has a couch, a TV, a tiny kitchen, my bedroom, and even its own door. One weekend, my mom and dad went to visit Victoria on the ferry, so I had the whole house to myself. I felt like a grown-up. I could even eat candy on the couch and jump on the furniture. That night, my best friends Oliver and Benji came over. We were super silly. We ate chips, played music loud, and watched funny hockey videos. It was so much fun, we all got really sleepy. Oliver and Benji said, "Can we sleep on the big couch?" And I said, "Of course." I went to my room and got into bed. My blanket was soft, my pillow was squishy, and my eyes felt sleepy. But guess what? In the middle of the night, I woke up. Step, step, step. I heard feet. Big feet walking around. Upstairs. My heart started going thump, thump. I thought maybe it was Oliver getting water, so I closed my eyes. But then, click, click. My bedroom doorknob was turning. Someone was trying to come in. I always lock my door, just in case. The knob kept turning, but didn't open. I didn't say anything. I just lay super still. I told myself it was fine. Maybe it was just Benji being silly, but it was not. In the morning, Oliver was gone. He left early. Benji was still sleeping. When he woke up, I asked, "Did you try to come in my room last night?" He rubbed his eyes and said, "No, I don't think so." Then we went to the cafe by Stanley Park to eat bacon and eggs. Yum. Later that night, I came back home. I was super tired, so I had a snack, brushed my teeth, and jumped into bed. I watched cartoons for a little bit and turned off the TV. Then, creak, I heard it again. Something was moving upstairs. It sounded like someone was walking very slowly across the kitchen floor. Step, step. I sat up in bed. "Hello?" I whispered, but no one answered. Then, click, tap, click. The doorknob moved again, but this time there was a little knock too. Knock, knock. I didn't say a word. I grabbed my flashlight and hid behind the dresser. I felt like my tummy had ice cubes in it. I texted my mom, Dad, Oliver, and Benji. "Is one of you here?" But no one answered. I was all alone. Then I called 911 and whispered, "I think someone's in the house." The nice lady on the phone said, "Stay calm, the police are coming. Don't leave your room." A few minutes later, tap, tap, tap. It was a police officer at my window. I opened it and gave him my key. He opened the door and came inside. "Stan, stay right here," he said. More officers came. They looked everywhere. My little apartment had no hiding places, so it was fast. Then we went upstairs. I followed behind, slowly. The officers went into the kitchen. Nothing. Then the hallway. Still nothing. Then, they opened my mom and dad's bedroom. "Get out from there!" one officer yelled. I peeked around the corner, and I saw something I will never forget. A man. A tall, dirty, scary man was hiding under my parents' bed. He was wearing a gray hoodie and had a scruffy beard. His eyes looked like a monster's eyes. He crawled out as the officers pulled him up. He stared at me like he was mad, so mad. It felt like his eyes were knives. The officer asked me, "Do you know this man?" I said, "No. I've never seen him before." They took him outside. I was so glad. The officer said, "You're safe now. Call us if you need anything." After they left, I called my mom and dad right away. "Mom, Dad, there was a man in the house." They were shocked, but the police said he didn't steal anything. He might have been a homeless man looking for a warm place to hide. But here's what makes my bones feel cold. We were playing music so loud the night before. Maybe he walked right in. Or worse, maybe he was already in the house the whole time, and we never even knew. My name is Eric. I live in a little blue house in Reykjavík, the cold, snowy city in Iceland, where the sun sometimes hides all day. One night, something really scary happened. Something I'll never forget. That night, my mommy and daddy went out to play games at the big casino. They told me, "We'll be home soon, Eric." So it was just me and my big black dog, Luna, at home. I was sitting on the couch watching silly videos and clicking buttons on my toy laptop. Luna was snuggled next to me, until suddenly she jumped up and barked really, really loud. Woof, woof, growl. She stared at the front window like something was out there. My heart started beating fast. I peeked through the curtains, but outside was dark, so dark I couldn't see anything. Only one car was in the driveway. Mommy and Daddy weren't back yet. Maybe Luna just heard a car, I whispered, trying not to feel scared. I patted her on the head, and we sat back down. But after a few minutes, I started to hear sounds. Creak! Scratch! Luna barked again, louder. Then, I heard something that made my tummy hurt. Knock. Not at the front door, not even at the back. The knock came from the side door, the one we never use. My knees felt like jelly. I stood up slowly and tiptoed to the window. But I didn't see anyone. Then, just when I thought it was over, I heard it. Click, shake, jiggle. Someone was trying to open the basement door. Luna, I whispered. Luna was already growling and running around the house. The basement door is under our house, behind the deck, and almost no one knows it's there. You have to walk around the whole house to find it. Who was down there? How did they know? Suddenly, the noises stopped. It was silent. Too silent. Then, grrr! Bark, bark, bark. Luna shot toward the basement stairs like a rocket, growling like I'd never heard before. My sweet, happy dog sounded like a monster. I couldn't move. I just stood there shaking. What was down there? Then I realized. Luna had gone quiet. My feet moved on their own. I ran to the door that leads to the basement and locked it fast. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the lock. I grabbed the house phone, we didn't have cell phones yet, and ran into my mommy and daddy's closet. That's where we kept something safe for scary times, a little shiny thing only grown-ups could touch. I sat in the dark, hugging Luna, who had come back upstairs, her fur all puffed up. I was just about to call for help when... click. The front door opened. Luna, no! I screamed as she ran out. But then, Eric, it's just us! It was my mommy and daddy. I ran into their arms and told them everything. My mommy hugged me tight, and my daddy grabbed a flashlight and searched every corner of the house, even the basement. But there was nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I just hugged Luna, wide awake. The next day, someone knocked on our door. I ran into the bathroom and hid. Daddy answered. It was my Uncle Dario. He looked funny, holding a white envelope. He smiled weirdly and said, I came by last night to drop this off. I peeked out from behind the wall. My daddy's face turned red. He slammed the door shut after Uncle Dario left. Inside the envelope was a thank you card for helping my cousin with soccer practice. A gift card was inside too. But none of that made sense. Why did Uncle Dario try to come at night? Why didn't he knock on the front door first? Why didn't he call? And worst of all, what would have happened if he got inside? After that night, we didn't see Uncle Dario much anymore. My daddy said we were done with him. I'm just glad Luna was there. She was my big, brave hero. She barked so loud she scared the bat away. But still, some nights, when the wind knocks on the side of the house, I remember that tapping sound. Knock, knock, knock. And I wonder, was he really alone? Hi, my name is Max. I live in a little wooden house deep in the forest of Jasper National Park in Canada. It's quiet here. There are big trees, cool lakes, and sometimes you can see bears and moose walking by from your window. I like the quiet. I really do. I don't have any neighbors close by, just trees and animals and wind whistling through the leaves. Most days I sit on my porch with a warm blanket and listen to the birds sing. But one night, something very strange happened. It was late, and the sky was dark. The moon was big and round, like a glowing cookie in the sky. I sat outside with some warm cocoa, watching the stars twinkle, when I heard it. Snap! A twig broke. I jumped a little. Probably just a deer, I said to myself. Deer always walk around here. But then, crackle, snap, scratch. Something was scratching the side of my house, not fast, not loud, but slow and soft, like claws trying to be quiet. I didn't like it. I felt cold, even though I had my blanket. I stood up. Maybe it's a raccoon, I whispered. Maybe it's just a tree branch. But the scratching didn't stop. It got closer and closer. It moved toward the window of my spare bedroom. Scratch, tap, tap, tap. I froze. My heart went bump, bump, bump inside my chest. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Someone, or something, was outside my window. I slowly crept over and pulled the curtain just a tiny bit. Outside, the moon lit up the yard and the trees swayed a little. I didn't see anyone. No deer, no raccoon, no people, just shadows. I locked all the doors. I closed every window. I turned off the lights and tiptoed to bed. The next night, I tried to be brave. I told myself, it was nothing, just a forest thing. You're being silly. But when I turned off the lights, I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. Then, a whisper. It was soft. So soft I could barely hear it. But it was there. It sounded like, "Let me in." I jumped up and grabbed my flashlight. I ran down the hall to the spare room. I shined the light at the window, and that's when I saw it. A shadow. A person. They were standing very still, right outside the window. Their head was tilted. Their arms hung at their sides, and they were looking right at me. I dropped my flashlight. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking so much I could barely press the buttons. "Help!" I told the person on the phone. "Someone's outside my house. I think they want to come in." They said help was coming. I didn't feel safe. I couldn't sit still. So I grabbed my jacket and started for the door, when I heard it. Creak, creak, footsteps, inside my house. I screamed and ran out the back door as fast as I could. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I ran through the dark trees, the branches scratching my arms, my legs, my face. Finally, I saw it. Flashing lights. The police! I waved and shouted, "Over here!" They ran to me and took me back to the cabin. They searched every room, every closet, under every bed. And do you know what they found? Nothing. No person, no raccoon, no deer. But the back door was wide open, and in the spare room closet, they found a shoe. A dirty, old shoe. One I had never seen before. I never stayed in that house again. I told the police I was safe, but I never went back. Now, even when I'm far away in the city, sometimes I still hear it. Scratch, tap, tap. And sometimes when I look out my window at night, I think I see that shadow, waiting. Hi, my name is Ellie, and I live in a little yellow house in Seattle with big windows and a red door. It's just me, Mommy, and our dog named Pickles. One night, Mommy had to go to the grocery store. She said, "I'll be super quick, baby. You stay here and watch your cartoons. I'll see you soon." She gave me a big kiss and waved goodbye. I stayed on the couch with Pickles, eating applesauce and watching my favorite show with talking animals. It was fun, until it wasn't. Suddenly my tablet buzzed. It was a message from Mommy. She was calling me on video. "Hi, Mommy," I said, smiling, but her face looked scared. Then she whispered, "Ellie, don't move." My tummy felt weird. "What's wrong, Mommy?" I asked, my voice really small. She said something I didn't understand at first, but then she said it louder. "There's someone behind you." I froze. I didn't even blink. Pickles stopped wagging his tail and growled real low. I was sitting on the couch. The big glass door to the backyard was right behind me. "I'm watching the nanny cam," Mommy said through the screen. "There's a man. He's in the house." I wanted to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. My arms felt like jelly. "Ellie, listen to me," Mommy said. "Take Pickles, go to the laundry room, now." I slid off the couch so quietly. I grabbed Pickles' collar. He didn't bark. He knew too. We tiptoed to the laundry room and I shut the door. I clicked the little lock. Click. "Mommy," I whispered. "What if he finds me?" "I already called 911, she said. "The police are coming. Just stay hidden." Then, I heard it. Creak, A footstep, then another, and another, slow, heavy. Pickles growled again. His ears were up. Then I heard the front door open, but Mommy had locked it. I saw her twist the lock before she left. So how was it open now? I grabbed a basket and hopped inside. I pulled a blanket over me. Pickles squeezed in too. We were breathing so soft, so quiet. Then, bang. Something hit the wall outside the laundry room. Then, scrappy. Fingers, a stick, I don't know. I clutched Pickles tight. Then, knock, knock, knock. Right on the laundry room door. Ellie, someone whispered through the crack. I covered my ears. The voice was not Mommy's. I couldn't see the face, but I heard breathing, like a dragon, like a monster. Then, bark, 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 bark! Pickles jumped out of the basket and scratched at the door, barking his loudest bark ever. Then, silence. No more footsteps, no more breathing, nothing. Then, way-oh, way-oh, way-oh! Blue and red lights flashed through the windows. The police had come. I heard loud voices, then footsteps running away. Then a lady police officer opened the door and said, "You're okay now, sweetheart. We're here." I jumped into her arms. Pickles barked, but this time, he was happy. Mommy got home not long after. She hugged me so tight and kissed me a million times. The man was gone. He had run through the backyard, but the police were looking for him. Later, they said he had been walking around our neighborhood, trying to sneak into houses, but Mommy's nanny cam caught him. She had seen him standing right behind me while I was watching TV. Sometimes I still think about that night, when the house is too quiet, when the wind knocks the trees, when the floor creaks by itself. But I always remember what Mommy said. You were so brave. And I was. Pickles too. But still, sometimes when I close my eyes, I hear that whisper. Ellie.